Welcome, adventurers! Today I want to take a step back from the dust and the shadows of the labyrinth and speak not only of where we've been, but of where we are going. For more than 3 decades, the Labyrinth of Time's Edge has been my constant companion. Sure, I put it down, walked away, came back a few times. As with every great passion project, sometimes the well runs a little dry, and you need nature itself to replenish the water supply to allow it to expand and grow and blah, 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 blah. Now, a world built one room at a time, one description at a time, each detail etched with care. But this is only the beginning. Now, the future of the game and the future of myself as its creator is still being written. Just as every step you take in the labyrinth writes your own story within it, your own experiences. Now, what I love about this is that so far, you can play it only on Windows machines, the 64-bit variety, 7, 8, and 11, blah, blah, all that other stuff. There is going to come a time when I would love to see it on Linux. I would love to see an Android version. Now, this is way beyond my technical scope of programming. I I would love to see a Linux version. I will honestly jump ship and run a Linux machine and do everything in Linux if I knew how to make a Linux version. I've my only primary experience with programming is well, QBasic, obviously, and Windows machine. You know, machines that run Windows. My first big break into programming, as many of you may know, if you don't know, I post all this stuff on my website, and from occasion I'll talk about it. But it was the IBM PS/2. I believe it came with Windows MS DOS 5.0, I believe, and it ran Windows 3.1. With that version had QBasic. It was in the utilities or one of the other folders. I don't really know, but it was QBasic. And that's when I sunk my teeth into it. I've been hooked ever since. Yeah, I've come and gone from the hobby, from the game, from the love of it, just to refresh myself. It's just one of the things that happens with many great passion projects that become really, really great. I, it's just something I just love. That memory is just etched into my membrane of my mind. Just it's just right there. But what do I see for the game? I see growth, not in size alone, though that will always continue. I'm always working on it every day. New maps, new encounters, deeper lore. Places like Citarolith uh, will expand into regions, and the maps will just keep going and going and going, and it'll be a forever. Honestly, I could see it being an open world like game. An open world text adventure. Which is pretty cool in my opinion. I think that is really neat. But because there's already muds, I just think stuff like that's funny. But it'll always expand and it'll always grow. It'll always become fantasy, then kind of a horror, then psychological, then fantasy again. Even in moments of grace, I want to see the labyrinth become a living chronicle. I'm working on it to become this massive work of art, and I love feedback, and that's why I will never really I will never really stop, and I will never put a sales price on there. Everything's suggested. The what on it's donation based. You know, for a cup of soup a day, you could help feed me, so I can continue working on this game full time to become something that I truly love with all my heart. See, something like that. Don't have to. What the future of the game is to bring to platforms. I would love to see it on Wind. Oh no, shit! I'm an idiot. Pardon my language. Coarse language is in this video. But I would love to see it on Linux or Android or iOS or anything like that. I think that'd be really cool. You know, Playing the game anywhere or even having it online. Have it like as a web on the website on the Labyrinth of Time's Edge. You could play it, and on the main page, it's like this little window in it, and you can just play the game. Now, see, I know it can be done. I'm just awful at doing this, and I have no idea how to do that. But I would love to see it on archive.org. That you could play it on archive.org. That's where you know you've made it as an old school text adventure game. If you could play it on the archive or IFDB, that's the best part right there. And for you, the community, I would love to hear more feedback. I would love to see people do a let's play on the game. I could do it, yeah, but it's pretty sad when I'm doing it. Ah, heck, I might do it. I don't know. But I would love to hear from people about the game and what they think of it. And yes, I do know there are some control bugs in the game at the 1800 plus room mark. Uh, I'm working on going through everything for an update. There is going to be a huge update coming. I'm going to call it the 4K update because, well, honestly, you could play this game in 4K and it still look the same as probably a CRT monitor. I don't really know, but because that'll be the 400 room mark, and if the 400 room mark is, that's the big one, right? The 4,000 room mark. That is big, in my opinion, compared to like how many locations are in it. That is huge, and I can't wait. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. But anyways, uh, for the game, it'll always be expanding with more adventure. For myself, I want to continue as the Venture Weaver, weaving not for reward, but for the love of creation. You guys know me. No, I'm the guy that wears a suit with a hood on. I'm really cool, right? And for you, this invitation is to keep stepping forward, lantern in hand, as Labyrinth unfurls into infinity. This is our path together. This is the future of the game. And together, we can make it work. Heck, we could always sit by a campfire and eat roast pig. Or, I'm sorry, roast pork. Ah, heck with it. Have fun, you guys. Venture Weaver out.